Hello and welcome to my Tarot Corner. So lately we see Meghan trying to change the point of view, the way people see her, and it was very evident in the Variety interview, and the difference in the picture that they put in the cover, in contrast to what was put in the Cut magazine. In the Cut magazine, she had this beachy look and this come and get me look, and here she wants to be seen as a saint. And River said that the picture with that necklace around her neck reminded him of the Cayenne women. And these are the women that have the multiple rings on their necks in order to elongate it because they believe it's beautiful. And this was my first thought when I saw this picture. And but all of this interview is about trying to change the way people see her, trying to look like the nerdy mom who is doing Scrabble and all sorts of other nerdy things, and the video that comes with it. I mean, this is really cringeworthy, and it comes right after the Bimbo podcast, in which she was actually throwing a lot of trash at her past ventures, at Deal or No Deal, and already two of her mates in that show came out and debunked her allegations about being treated only for your beauty, about other things that she claimed in that podcast. So she was interviewing Paris Hilton, but actually didn't let her talk more than 10 minutes. And she was very adamant in showing the world that she is a changed woman, that she is smart and not just beautiful, and she wanted to be treated for her brains and not for her beauty. But then she went out and did all sorts of sexy things and used her sexuality in other interviews before she met Harry, of course. So after being the beachy one in the Cut magazine, in which she, of course, now is distancing herself from, and in my previous reading about Alison, the writer who wrote that piece, I saw that she caused her losing her job because she did not like the backlash. So I just wonder what will happen now if because this interview is, the backlash is not less than the one that were from the Cut magazine. And she's being scrutinized even more, she's being debunked even more. So I'm going to look into two things. First, I'm going to ask if Meghan really, if she lied. Did she lie about all of the things that happened in Deal and No Deal? Is she lying about other things that she said? So first of all, is she lying? And then I'm going to ask if she is succeeding in changing the point of view, the way people see her. And I'm not talking about us, because all of us already know her shenanigans, but I'm talking about other people, young people who actually do like her. And I know from my daughter that the younger people in TikTok, for example, are very much on her side. So I'm going to look at it. Is she managing to change the way people think about her? So before I start, please take a few moments to read my full disclaimer in the description box. This is a tarot reading. It is vibrational. It is open to interpretation. It exists as assumptions and speculation, and as such, may not be true. So please do your own research and decide for yourself. Okay, so the first question is going to be, is Meghan knowingly lying, or does she believe her lies? So I am starting with just shuffling. And I'm starting to ask, so is Meghan knowingly lying in the podcast she's doing and in the cut and in the interviews? Okay, sorry. Oh, I didn't say which deck it is. This is the Cosmic Coven Tarot. And it does have an extra card, so if it comes out, I will tell you about it. So, is Meghan knowingly lying? So, is Meghan knowingly lying, or does she believe her own lies in interviews and in her podcast? Okay, so usually in the SOS reading, I am just cutting once and then taking 3 cards with my left hand. So although it's a little bit painful, I'm doing it. And the answer is in the middle card. So let's see what we get. And we get the Lovers. Okay, so the Lovers is a message card. It's not a yes or no card. As someone asked me in the comments about how do we know which card is a yes or no, or usually most of the cards in the tarot are messages. Some of them are messages with some kind of direction towards yes or no. Some of them are just messages, and some are yes or no, but most of the cards are not yes or no. So the Lovers, we need to look at the psychological interpretation of this card, and the psychological of this card is interpretation is about being total. So Meghan, I believe, really believes her own lies. She has this kind of amnesia about the things that she has done in the past. She is really believing what she's saying, and she's being total. She's being completely total about those things and about the things that she's saying, and she is trying her best to slam everything that she conceives as wrong in her past in order to rebuild her new image. So this is why we got the Lovers card, because the Lover cards is speaking about cutting out whatever is unnecessary from your life pathway and just taking it out in order to be able to go forward. But you cannot change the past. What this card speaks about, it speaks about looking at your life and the things in your life right now that are not helping you. And the first examples that my teacher used to speak about were, for example, doing a cleanup in your wardrobe, taking out all of the clothes clothes that you haven't worn for a few years, or looking at your library and all of the books that you don't need there, taking them out. So this is the beginning of taking out things that are unnecessary from your life. But then you go to the spiritual things or the non-tangible things. But she is trying to change her past. She is trying to get rid of all of the things that she has done in the past that she is not proud of now. So this is why I believe that she really believes her own lies. And here we get the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups, that's a card of renewal and flow in the material world. This is a card of a lot of emotions. So she's very emotional about that. But she is trying to renew what her past was. She's trying to reinvent history by everything. She's telling all sorts of lies about her childhood, things that are not true. She's also telling a lot of lies about her father and her siblings. So she's trying to be seen as if she's very emotional, as if it's very hard for her. So this is what she's trying to show us. And this is a card of someone who really believes that she deserves the change of view of people about her. But as you can see here, the person here is turning his back to the Ace of Cups because she doesn't want to see that this is something that is not true, that all of this renewal, all of this energy of flow is not real. She doesn't want to see that. She is cutting out all of the things that are emotional from her life, and she herself admitted that she finds it difficult to attach emotionally to things. So on the other side, we get the Three of Swords. And the Three of Swords, she's looking at the Three of Swords. The Three of Swords, that's a card of destruction and failure that comes because she is unable to see reality as it is. The card that comes before the Three of Swords is the card of Two of Swords, which is a card of someone who is completely detached from reality, completely disengaged from reality, and cannot cope with reality. And that card leads to doing all the wrong things and to the Three of Swords, which is destruction and failure because of that. So she's looking at all of her failures up until now, and she's thinking about how can she change it. This is what she's thinking about. How can she change her image? So that's part of saying those lies, and she really believes them, and she doesn't understand why do people keep slamming her? Why do people don't believe her? So this is because she's unable to see reality as it is. So she really believes her lies. So is she managing to change people's perception of her? Is she managing to change the way people see her? Because what happened now is that two of her supporters tweeted that they just cannot support her anymore. So she is able to convince people that she's the saint that she wants us to believe she is. So if there is a change of point of view, what kind of change is it? So this is not a yes or no reading, because I want to look into the energies and how people really see her now after all of those changes. So I'm going to take a few cards and maybe the underlying energy as well. So I'm starting with clearing the deck. Okay, and does Meghan change the way people see her? Sorry, as you can see, my shuffling is not that perfect. So Does Meghan manage to change the way people see her? And if she does, is it for the good or for the bad? So how do people see Meghan after the variety interview, after her podcast up until now? How is the public perception of Rachel Meghan Markle? So I will cut this deck to 3, and then I will start taking out cards, and we'll talk about each card. So the first card that comes out is the King of Wands. The King of Wands is the male version of the Queen of Wands. But this is a person who is the initiator, but someone who only starts things but is unable to take them all the way through. So first, people see her as someone who is egotistical, someone who only begins things but very impulsive and starts irritating very easily, someone who is angry, and someone who uses her sexuality. And as you can see here, the King of Wands is a woman. So this is the Queen of Wands, but in a more irritated, angry way of a person. Okay, so this is one thing. So she's not changing much the perception of her. The next card is the Three of Wands. So the Three of Wands is actually a good card. It is a card of a cooperation and recognition. But it's also a card of someone who is starting a way. This is the first, let's say, the first success in the Wands suit, and it speaks about being recognized, and people do recognize her, people know her, and she gets cooperation. I mean, people like Paris Hilton come to agree to be on her podcast despite the fact that she gave her only 10 minutes. She managed to get Mariah Carey on her podcast, so she does get the cooperation of people. She does get some kind of recognition, but still people see her as someone who is only beginning. This is just the beginning, and once again, she's initiating things, but she does not know how to take them all the way through. And this is exactly what we see here, because this is the beginning of a road. And the next card is the Two of Cups. And the Two of Cups is a card of someone who needs to be the suitor and not wait for others to court them. And this is a card of someone who needs to be more active. But this is a card of someone who is now still very passive. So people do see her as someone who is trying, someone who is starting things, someone who needs to be more of a suitor, someone who needs to be more active, but she's not really active. So altogether, I would say that the public perception of her stays the same. It doesn't get any worse yet. It doesn't get any better. So people still see her for the way that they saw her before. Some people recognize that she's lying, that she's not telling the truth, but most people, the ones that liked her before, are still there, and the ones that don't like her, of course, did not change their point of view. And the underlying message here is the Six of Swords. Six of Swords is a card of vacation. It is a card of someone who needs to take a vacation, someone who needs to go away, and someone who needs to move. This is a card that tells us that people see her as what she did. She took Harry and she moved, she left, and they see her as someone who will dump people when they don't serve her anymore. This is like the card that describes markling, because this is a card of someone who leaves when things are getting tough, when the water are too stormy. She's taking her sword and leave. And this is what she did in the past, and she's having difficulty to preserve, and this is what people start to see. So people are starting to see that, but still people are cooperating with her, and they see that she's passive. They see that she cannot take things all the way. They see that she is getting that she's getting irritated and angry very easily. People see that, but they still give her the benefit of the doubt. So the people that are still buying her lies. Okay, so I'm using this crystal ball oracle, which is very easy to understand. And this is a question for the crystal ball, and it's about whether or not Meghan will manage to change the way people see her in the future. Will Meghan manage to change the way people see her in the future? Okay, so let's spread the deck and take a card. And the answer is very possible. Okay, so it is possible that she might be able to change the way people see her. It doesn't say that it will be for the better. It could be even for the worse, but it's very possible that people will start seeing her in a different light. Okay, so this is it for this reading. I hope you liked it, and if you did, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.